So, Sawiskala stopped all the rivers from flowing two ways, so that all the rivers flowed only one way. So part of a journey with the current would be easy and pleasant, but the return trip on that journey would be hard work. It would make all who went upstream strong. You had to be strong to live in the world that Sawiskala helped make. Deholuyawagun saw the sunlight sparkle off the great falls, and he saw that all who traveled upriver would become very strong. Thank you, blue waters, in all your shapes and sizes, from the smallest creeks to the great waters that stretch out forever, from the smooth mirror lakes to the wild rocky waterfalls, we thank you. So for the waters big and small, still and wild, he gave a fitting name. Now, there was no sickness in those days, but Deholuyawagun thought that someday sickness might come. He knew there were more beans to make, and that one day they would need something to help them. So he made many medicines. Medicines like sweet flag that were gentle and safe. Deholuyawagun made his medicine so they could be picked during the day when the sun shines and it is easy to find them. And to them he gave a fitting name. But Sawiskala laughed and said, "What power can there be in these daylight medicines?" So he made medicines like ginseng that you pick at night. You have to watch out for ginseng and the other medicines Sawiskala made. They are hard to pick, and they can hurt you if you don't pick them and store them just right. They are as tricky as Sawiskala, but they are the strongest help too, if you know how to use them. And Sawiskala gave them fitting names. As Deholuyawagun saw the difficult plants, he realized that a time could come when their strength would be needed. It would not be often, but a time could come when they were the only hope. We are thankful to good medicine herbs for healing us when we are sick. We are thankful for the gentle and the harsh, for the weak and the strong. Deholuyawagun looked about. He saw the mountains and rivers and berries and the plants, and he breathed a deep sigh and looked up. Suddenly he realized there was nothing between the earth and sky. So Deholuyawagun made the great forests full of all kinds of trees, the birch that the people will need to make their canoes, and the elm for long houses, and the maples that will give them sweet water, and the strong oak for digging sticks, and willows whose branches can become bows. All the trees stood up very straight and tall and reached for the sky world, and all of them had the same beautiful leaves. Deholuyawagun was pleased to see the tree beings reach up to the Creator with such purpose. But Sawiskala came along. "All the same," he said, shaking his head. "Again and again my elder brother makes all the same." And he pulled at the trees, and he jumped on their branches and twisted their limbs. And soon most of the trees had branches going every which way, some straight, some curved, some bent. And he breathed on the leaves and blew as hard as he could with his breath, and some leaves crinkled and twisted, some smoothed out, and soon all the trees had different leaves. For a moment, Deholuyawagun fretted, but as he looked at the trees, he knew that these changes would make it easier for the people he would make later to tell which trees were for canoes and which were for houses, which were for sweet syrup and which were for bitter medicine. And then he smiled. He looked at the small animals climbing freely among the twisted branches, and he looked at the birds nesting in the twisted notches, and he laughed. To all the trees in the world, we are thankful for the shade and warmth you give us, and for the food and medicine you offer, and for the stories you tell us with your twisting arms and tall, straight backs. At last, Daholuyawagun thought he must be finished, and he looked at the forest he had made, and all the different trees that he had created, and that Sawiscala had changed. And he looked at all the animals he had made, and how they walked and ran through the forests, and how the animals Sawiscala had made chased them and hunted them. He was very pleased with the forest and all the animals and all the medicines and birds and flowers, but the forest was almost silent. Sometimes a wolf howled or a fox yipped, but most of the time the only sound was the wind playing in all the different kinds of leaves on the trees. Even Daholuyawagun, who liked things easy and peaceful, found this too still. Daholuyawagun looked up at the birds. The birds, he thought. They brought grandmother to this world safely. They talk with one another, but they do not sing. I will give them song to fill the skies, and they will all sing together and pass their news in song. So Daholuyawagun gave the robins and sparrows, the blue jays, the cardinals, the loons, and the ducks all one song. And for a time, they all sang together, sharing news and stories, and the skies were filled with song. But Sawiscala listened to the song of the birds, and he had a different idea. He sent a great wind until all the different birds sang in different voices. Robin sang of spring, and Blue Jay chattered his news. Cardinal sang out tweet, tweet, and Morning Dove cooed her greeting to the dawn, and Whippoorwill twittered to the sunset. Hundreds of birds, thousands of birds, each with his own song. They were all different, and the sky rang in harmony, and Daholuyawagun gave each a name according to their song or the part of the rainbow they carried across the sky. Whippoorwill whirled his voice, and the cuckoo cooed, and Redbreast and Blue Jay carried their colors. When each had been named, he continued, "Thank you, birds, for singing your beautiful songs, each one different. Thank you for filling the sky with flying rainbows and for giving us your feathers for our ceremonies. And thank you for bringing Grandmother Ojijisagayo gently to Turtle Island." Daholuyawagun looked around for a moment at all they had made, and Sawiscala looked too. And then, from overhead, Grandmother Moon shone down brightly, and the sky nodded its approval for the work of the two boys. The thunder beams rolled their approval and split the sky with flashing light and sent rain to nourish all that had been created. "Thank you, thunder beams," the twins whispered together. And then Daholuyawagun nodded, and he said, "Degeli, it is complete." "Degeli," Luwagsoda said as she ruffled Aionwadha's hair. "Degeli," she repeated as she threw her head back, laughing. "It is complete, little Aionwadha. The earth is full and the story is done. And now you must go to your mother's fire and sleep." "But grandmother," said Aionwadha, "it's not done. Someone is missing," cried all the children together. "Hush now, children. It is done for today. Tomorrow you will learn more." And Aionwadha knew great-grandmother had decided, though he knew this was certainly not done, and there was no more to be said. So he went off to his mother's fire and climbed in his bed.